Hello, I'm Óscar Gonçalves, and we are currently in the University of Coimbra's private examination room. This room, portraying pictures of rectors dating back from the 16th century, was the location of the oral examinations for students. These oral examinations were private events taking place at dusk, in which only the student and the professor were present. Delving into consciousness as the subjective headquarters of experience is similar to entering a private examination room. In the previous episode, we discussed the possibility of reaching consciousness in apparently unconscious individuals by using the appropriate questions. In that case, using neuroimaging techniques. However, the response to our oral questions and commands is dependent on the organism's ability to react to any external stimulation, which is not always the case. It is possible for an individual or for any organism to remain unresponsive to any sensorial stimulation while still maintaining some covert consciousness. Can we find the right questions to probe consciousness in seemingly non-conscious organisms? Today we will explore how neuroscience has developed appropriate questions to probe for global consciousness, to determine if the organism is conscious at all. Probing consciousness without sensorial communication may seem impossible at first glance. However, the proponents of one of the most ambitious theories of consciousness, integrated information theory, were able to successfully respond to this demand with a combination of sound theory, ingenious technology, elegant mathematics, and experimental control. I'll show you how. The theory proposes that all conscious experience has two central features. It is both informative and integrated. To be conscious is first to reach for information and reduce the experience of subjective uncertainty. Difference that makes a difference. The second dimension is integration, meaning that multiple elements of the experience are bound, and this integration is irreducible to different components. For a system to be conscious, the information generated by the system cannot be reduced to the sum of the information generated by its individual components. Being conscious means being able to potentiate this balance between diversifying and integrating experience. Imagine the model of a brain composed by a set of nodes. In this model, the activity of every node is random and independent. The system has the maximum amount of information, different activity at every node, but lacking any patterns. Absolutely random. And integration, so no interdependence among the nodes. At the mind level, This would be translated into a chaotic stimulation flow without a coherent sense of subjective experience. Moving to the other extreme, in this second model, all the nodes seem to behave harmonically in an absolute state of synchrony. There is no randomness whatsoever. Such a system has absolute integration, but the lowest amount of information power, just two states, on and off. As for the mind, this would model a consciousness that integrates, but at the cost of foreclosing information. Here, we are once again in the presence of a restricted level of consciousness. However, there is still a third alternative in which most of the nodes are active and originate diversified and flexible patterns of interaction. At the mind level, we are modeling here a significant increase in consciousness, allowing a diversity of states that are functionally integrated. Only here, the system reaches an optimal state of balance between order and disorder, both highly sensitive and highly integrative. The challenge is to test these three models and see if we can come up with a valid and reliable, let's call it consciousness meter, measuring how much information is generated by a system that is above and beyond the information generated by its elements. To accomplish this, we need to develop a strategy to introduce information into a closed brain system, not requiring any extroceptive or interoceptive input, and assess how that information is being processed within the system, without a motor output. Addressing this challenge, researchers came up with an ingenious method known colloquially in the lab environment as the ZEP, in which transcranial magnetic stimulation is applied to induce perturbation in a brain system. That means zapping, introducing information. And electroencephalography is used to measure how the information is distributed and integrated. In order to quantify this distribution integration dynamics, the spatiotemporal EEG patterns are compressed, literally zipped. The level of complexity of the ZIP algorithm provides us a quantified measure known as the perturbation complexity index, that we refer usually PCI for short. Moving now from models to real brains, PCI should be able to classify individuals in different consciousness states. We may start with the most basic question. Can PCI algorithm successfully discriminate awake from deep sleep consciousness? This is indeed the case. PCI values are higher in awake state, evidencing that the person is conscious, and very low in phases of deep sleep, where the person is not having an oniric dream experience. Additionally, PCI is able to distinguish different sleep phases, distinguishing REM from non-REM sleep. With REM sleep, the periods where individuals report intensive oniric experience, evidencing PCI levels curiously similar to awake consciousness. But PCI is also successful in discriminating wakefulness from unconscious states induced with general anesthesia, such as the one induced by anesthetics as midazolam, propofol, or xenon. Interestingly, individuals under ketamine, a dissociative anesthetic known to induce intensive oniric experiences, show PCI levels comparable to the ones that we found in REM sleep condition or in wakefulness. The ultimate test of the model would require also a significant accuracy of PCI in classifying patients with distinct disorders of consciousness. Also here, it was possible to come up with a PCI threshold level that clearly distinguishes patients who are unconscious, such as those that are in coma or unresponsive wakefulness syndrome, from those that are conscious, despite being unable to provide a motor response, such as the ones that are in a locked-in syndrome, or those that are minimally conscious. Bringing all this evidence together, a test of a large data set of individuals undergoing this procedure, from subjects during wakefulness, REM and non-REM sleep, under several anesthetic agents, and patients with different consciousness conditions, confirms PCI as a reliable measure in discriminating conscious from consciousness states. While the theory remains a good illustration of how the joint efforts of psychology, neuroscience, and technologies provide a new experimental window into global consciousness, identifying the neurocorrelates of being conscious at all, probably we need to come up with a different set of questions to move beyond global consciousness and probe if the individual is indeed conscious of something. In this private examination room across the centuries, generations of students faced the task of proving to their unforgiving examiners that they remained not only consciousness at all, but indeed also conscious of something.